everybody. This is Love from Above by your sibling spirit guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey, Maureen. Hey, everyone. This is Brian.
Hello, Brian. We're so happy to be here. If you can believe it, on this podcast, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And today's topic is the living intelligence of crystals. We explore how crystals communicate, how to work with them, and how to connect with them. Brian, you know I love my sparkling gems. What about you?
Yeah, and I think I don't think it goes into it in these sessions, but some of the books we've read that covered Atlantis talked about how they used the power of crystals for like transportation, for everything. The whole city was essentially run on crystals for healing, for everything. So, they're people just look at them as pretty rocks or something, but there's a lot more to crystals than we know.
And the three pyramids at Giza, they were originally covered with each with a different color of crystal, is my understanding. So, yeah, really making them a transponder. So, do you want to go into our first session for these podcasts, we go through our archives and we pull out sessions on relevant topics. And so the first one is from January 15th, 2024 on using crystals from the Star Being group called Aura.
Right. So they start, we appreciate your admiration of our natural state. We acknowledge your strong connection with your beloved brother. These bonds can be strengthened through the sharing of crystalline objects. They suggest that we each keep a crystal close to our body, in a pocket, or close to the heart. Then, next time we meet, we exchange the crystals. He said, "Is that correct?" They said, "This is indeed. The crystal must be held close to the bodily frame during the shared meditation periods. The amplified fortitude of these crystals will uniquely bond the two beloved sibling pairs. We shall provide further instructions. For now, the charging process during meditations." And then they said, "We wish to correct previous statements that might be misconstrued. The placement of the crystal behind the head, at the neck, at the heart, at the throat, beneath the feet, at the base of the spine. These are positions which can magnify the the crystals." So, they said you both have crystals, use them. The crystals have magical powers. We correct the word magic. Magic assumes that the performance is based on rules outside the normal world of activities, and this is not true. However, you and your beloved brother have the tools. Utilize them. Be inventive. There's no right or wrong way to utilize a crystalline structure. They shall speak with you and direct you if you choose to ask, but ignoring their tremendous properties. And then we lost the thread. But anyway, they go on. We wish to commend both you and your brother for your unfailing trust in our wisdom, direction. Your faith is deeply appreciated. So, Maureen, we used to do this. We sort of got away from this, right?
Well, actually, I didn't, Brian. So we did it once, and then I carried those crystals with me always. And you recently gave me, do you remember you recently gave me like a little pink crystal? And I carried the first crystal we exchanged, and then I carried another crystal that I was preparing to give you to the next time. And then I was carrying in a little red bag that third crystal you recently gave. And then a recent flight, I lost it. But you know what? I never feel like it's lost. I feel like it went to somebody who needs it. You know what I mean? I had been charging those crystals for more than a year and someone got them and they needed it. But yeah, reminder to us that we should do this process because imagine that, imagine that we're both charging crystals in our heart every day with our meditations. Oh my gosh, what could be a better gift, Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we encourage, listeners out there to do the same with someone else they love or something, and so as a way to connect more. But do you want to go on the next one?
No, first I got to tell you the story
Okay.
about communication. So they were saying that crystals communicate with you. This reminds me of one time. I don't know if you remember, I have this huge, I mean, it's just this giant citrine. And I was in the store and I was looking at the citrine and it was so beautiful and it was really speaking to me. And I was like, I really wanted it, but it was a big citrine. So, it came with a big price tag. It wasn't that much money, but it was more than I wanted to spend. And so I was like, nah, I looked at it, and I decided, no, I'm not going to spend that money on that. I'm not. And I had gone to this crystal store. It was like an hour away from my home. And I was driving back, and the crystal came clearly into my mind and spoke and said, I am a crystal of wealth. Do you not think that I shall replenish the outlay of cash for the it requires for you to purchase me? So I turned around and I got the crystal. Can you believe it, brother?
That's funny. That's amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? I had a friend who was really big into crystal skulls and like really communicated with the crystal skulls. So there's definitely, I mean, have you, and you're so intuitive, have you communed with crystals as well?
No, but they do have. uh, We've got direction. Remember, at one point they asked me to put crystals in my backyard, and I got the sort of raw crystals from that one place by me, not the polished crystals, and I placed them all over, the backyard. And so, I mean, I have them all around. I have them right here on my desk. I have them, by my bed. I have crystals all over, but I'm not, I don't know that I've got a message like that, but I do appreciate them.
Yeah. Yeah, they are very special indeed. So anyway, this next one is on a really a special event that happened to me. So this is from January 22nd, 2024, and these are about gosh, crystal, there were beans in the stone. Anyway, I'll get into it. Dearest one, we indeed come to converse with regard to our numeric equations to seek balance within yourself, attracts and draws like-minded experiences, people, and opportunities. It's like setting the table for an important guest. Everything must be in alignment. The chicken is prepared to perfection. The glasses are cleaned. Imagine if the important guests arrive and nothing is prepared. In this way, to correct the inner mutations that occur during a long lifetime is required to set the table, to set the stage for a benevolent future. We shall assist with clearing away the clutter, as it were, with your agreement, of course. And I said, yes, please. I passed along the agreement for my brother as well. And then they said, no, he needs to agree on his own. So we get to the law of free will. Then they said, that is all, dear one. Relax and enjoy the many gifts placed before you. These days are short, yet present fantastic opportunities to advance the soul, which you and your brother are both seizing. Then it goes into the stones. So I have to tell you, at the time I was staying in the Hilton, Bahrain, and I stayed there for a while. I want to say like 2 weeks. And in my bathroom, like it was all like granite. And I just looked at the granite and it like looked like faces looking at me and the swirls within the granite. I'm like, those definitely look like faces and like people. So I have this practice if there's ever a bathtub, like I'll at night I'll take like a really relaxing bath and I'll turn off the lights. So then that way I can really see the divine. And I could see they were definitely faces and they were there was a lot of movement within the and it kind of freaked me out because when I first saw that, and I know I talked to you about that, Brian, when I first saw that, I was afraid that like those beings were like trapped in the stone. So then they go on to explain this and they say the stones, the stones. Remember the utilization of these precious beings that surround you always. And then I said, can you tell me more about the people embedded in the granite of my hotel's bathroom? They said these beings are advanced souls that are not trapped, as you feared, within the granite. They utilize the stone as portals to glimpse upon ones they wish to see, in a similar fashion that you would gaze upon a window. Their presence is fortuitous and bodes well for harmonious interactions between future beings. It's like introductions were made so a greater circle can be developed. A better analogy would be that a door has been opened and both parties can enter the portal to greet each other. So, anyway, and then they say that these beings are, their name is like the Freyak. And they said without the Freyak being present, equally as important is the witnessing of the dancing of the spectacle of their regiments, for they are deemed renowned for their skill of twirling through life. Rest, dear one, we shall communicate on the morrow. And that's the first time I've seen that, but I've seen that on other times too, but never as dramatically as I did in that Hilton Bahrain. So if you ever go to the Hilton Bahrain, turn off the lights, take a bath, and let me know if you see the same thing.
Yeah, I remember you t telling me about that, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." But yeah, that it's good to know that they're not trapped and that they're higher beings just checking in on you. So that's a great message.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it was amazing experience. Like I couldn't wait for the end of the day to turn off the lights and slip into the tub and watch what was going on. I mean, it was just, honestly, it was crazy. I mean, it was really, really crazy, but I'm grateful to have witnessed it. And I'm grateful that they were indeed not trapped in the stone. So it was just a window. It was like I was an animal in the zoo and they were taking a look, they were taking a look at me.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So I'll go on to the next one, November 26th of 2024, communication with crystals and the energetic connection. I wish to acknowledge those who have reached out and communicated with us. We are prized for our immense beauty and we carry ourselves with interminable grace. These are crystals that are speaking. We are crystallized and reside deep within the hallowed halls of this righteously developed planet. We sing our songs to all who can hear the righteous of our instructive melodies. We are always present. We perceive and acknowledge our unusual traits in speaking through this human. One may commune with a crystal. This is a well known practice in your ancient cultures. The best way to communicate with us is to locate the energetic focal by noticing the brightest focal point within the facets of your favorite rock. These facets represent energetic nodes. Some are more easily accessed than others. Others respond on an individual basis. You may respond more to one facet than your friend, your lover, or your child. The time for unifying with the crystalline energy is upon us. You may no longer gather us among you without realizing the tremendous strain this puts on your fractured beings. We serve but only wish to be. Invite us into your lives, and we shall entertain and acknowledge your grace, well being, and increase your being, esteem, and worth. So, how about that? A message from actual crystals. So, that's pretty amazing. Maureen, what do you think?
Yeah, what I like most about this is how they give us the best way to communicate with the crystal by noticing the brightest spot. And there is something when you look at a crystal, they're multifaceted and there usually is like a line or a spot or there's a face. If you do have it on your desk, there's a face that you want to be facing you. So, yeah, that is really interesting. I was always told like you should, at first, like when you're crystal shopping, that you should kind of ask, like, do you want to come home with me? Because, and to respect them, that they are high beings and, but yeah, what really speaks out to you, brother?
Well, I like the thing about noticing how to communicate with them and the focal point, and noticing that. So yeah, like the one you gave me is a great example of that because it's got like specks of sort of like silver and this one area that's like clearly the focal point for that. But yeah, I think it's just really interesting, and that the power of crystals and that being able to communicate with them is something that is most people aren't aware of. So I just appreciate the message.
And you know what else I'm appreciative of? Gosh, when I first started buying crystals, I mean, really, they were hardly available. And now, gosh, they're everywhere. You know what I mean? You everywhere. And so they've really exploded in popularity, I think, because really most people can recognize the beauty and, the beautiful nature of the crystals. But I'll go on to the next one, which is from September 13th. And this is about connection. Darling child, your light glows with an effervescent, luminous quality. Never doubt your own strength and unique talents and powers. There are many who would wish to be in your situation. So, this was another crystal experience that they're referencing. If you ever go to Shanghai, one of my favorite hotels to stay there is the Marriott Marquis. And right next to it, it's got this store. Oh my gosh, Brian, you can't even imagine. Like they have got like jade Buddhas that are intricately carved that are like life size for sale. And, you know, just you can't imagine the masterpieces that are made and all out of crystal. And they'll give you free tours, but like all the prices are like, 500,000 and then they're giving you the tour and they're like, "Oh, we'll ship anywhere in the world." And I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so they wanted to talk about that. So they said, we speak about these luminous pieces upon which you gaze. The size of a crystal does not necessarily matter. In this way, bigger is not always better. The heartfelt touch between the recipient and the crystal's owner are the most important thing. Now new visuals are coming through. We need to compare these bonds to those of your beloved teddy bear. Would you change your beloved bear with his worn fur and missing nose for a brand new bear? No. Of course, your bond is deep. The same is true with a beloved crystal reaching for the heartfelt connection. With a crystal the size of your thumbnail is more important than the ostentatious showpiece that would dominate the entry of a large home. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is because you go in those crystal shops and you see those huge crystals, but I like that they said it's not the size. The bigger is not always better. So that's a great thing to keep in mind. It's like you said, get connection. And I think you mentioned this to me. When I was going to a crystal shop, I'm like, okay, which one is speaking to me? Which one is really, you know, catches my eye that I really want to connect with? So, but yeah, I think it's makes total sense to me. What speaks to you?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about like my own crystal collection and about what my favorite crystal is. And it really is a feeling, like it's a feeling like you would have with a relationship. I mean, it really is a feeling that you have with your favorite crystals. So it's interesting and they do feel different. So yeah, thank you for putting this together, Brian. I mean, I love my crystals and I think honestly everyone does, right?
Right, right. So I'm glad we could share the power of crystals and how to communicate and really understand crystals better and how that they're living. They're not just rocks, they're living beings. So hope you appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah. And next time, our podcast is about your emotions are a compass, not a crisis. Hope you can tune in and listen.
Bye, everyone.